Yo, what's going on? It's your main man, Rick the Dawn. And before we jump into this conversation, I need everybody to do me a solid. Go to Apple or Spotify, find the Rick the Dawn podcast, and throw your main man a 5-star rating. Go to my YouTube, subscribe, and like everything because I am a small creator, content creator, and oftentimes people like us don't really get any representation because our people don't really do that. You know what I'm saying? We don't support each other. So please support, check out my shoe, all that. Support everything, man. That's what we're doing. But I finally was able to catch up on episode 4. And let me tell you, it's getting crazy. All right. Ray and Manny are in the S word. All right. So look, they are starting to figure out that this thing is getting way too serious and it's starting to hit home. So much so that Ray has moved him, Manny, and his mother to a hotel. Now, Ray gets this bright idea to put a GPS tracker on one of the cars just tracking him because he's realizing that, hey, these guys are going to come at me relentlessly no matter what. So he grabs his pistol. He goes to his old house because he's watching his old house and he sees this car constantly circling around his house. So he goes there and he's got his pistol and he's like creeping up on the car. And the dude is asleep when he pulls up. He's asleep. But then the guy wakes up and Ray like, oh, and the guy goes and uses the bathroom. And I'm thinking to myself, yo, Ray, pop this dude, pop him. Not a good idea because that's only one guy of this huge conglomerate. So what Ray does is he outthinks me, of course, and he puts a GPS tracker on the guy's car. And this allowed, and I was very confused. I'm like, yo, Ray, why are you putting a GPS on this car when you can just shoot him? But Ray is like 100 steps in front of me. And that does lend to why Ray is still alive. All right. I think I would have already crashed out by this point. No, Ray is still alive because he's very smart. So what he does is he puts the GPS on the car and this allows him to see where his enemies are at all times. And in doing so, it allows him to move freely because he knows, okay, if I go here, I can track to see that my enemy is on the other side of town. And that's incredibly intelligent. But something else happens that I wasn't quite aware of, or I didn't even think this would happen. While tracking this other car, Ray notices that car goes to this secret hideout. So he Googles the hideout or the location, and he finds out that it is this remote location in the woods. So I'm like, wait a minute, Ray. That's exactly where all these biker guys hang out. Okay, so that happens. And in the last recap, I had made zero mention of the most important plot point, and I don't know how I missed it. But when Ray and Manny and the drug user go and storm this barn to take their money and drugs, it turns out that there's a couple undercover cops working at that barn. So when the plan goes haywire, there's a couple undercover cops that go down as well. As you know, they killed one undercover cop, and then the other undercover cop was shot in the neck. So yeah, this thing is getting crazy. So as far as the undercover cop is concerned, in this episode, we learned that the police force is not quite onto what she was doing at that barn. And it turns out she and her partner had some undercover dealings that are now coming to the surface. And, you know, of course, the real DEA, not the Manny and Ray DEA, are asking some questions like, hey, so what's going on? Tell me what's going on. And she, for all intents and purposes, basically tells the DEA agent, look, stop trying to protect yourself and protect the agency and go find this fake DEA agent. And it turns out that they have more insight on who Ray is than I thought because they immediately go to Ray's attorney, Michelle. Okay, and they say, hey, I need you to basically set this guy up. We know that you're representing him or his father, and we need your help catching this guy because he's into some deep stuff, and you could also be in trouble. So, you know, she does put him in harm's way, Ray, by setting him up to meet her at a restaurant. But we'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, look, it starts to get so bad that even Son, who is Ray's friend, his Asian friend, Son is starting to get himself caught up. So Ray calls Son like, hey man, I know where these biker guys are hanging out at. I know where I need some help. I need some help, Son. And he's basically like, look, man, I know a guy who can pretty much, you know, take care of these guys. I got some muscle. So he hangs up the phone with Ray and he goes outside and we're wondering what's going on because whoever shot this scene, they have Son walking for at least a good 40 seconds. And 40 seconds on a TV show, somebody walking, that's like an hour. You know what I'm saying? Because you're just sitting there watching him walking like, where's he going? So he walks to his backyard and he goes to his swing set and you see that somebody hung his pets. All right, it was so sad seeing that dog. Look, it was a dog that was hung from a swing set, and I don't know what the other animal was. My brain is telling me that it was a horse. I want to say a horse, but I don't remember seeing Son with a horse. But nevertheless, Son sees his animals on the swing set hung, and he shows no emotion whatsoever. He goes to the animals and cut them down, but as he pans the scenery, trying to figure out who did this, he sees a guy, looks like a biker guy, with tattoos all over his face, looking him directly in the eyes like, it was me. Now, I was so surprised that Son didn't react in any regard. He didn't grab any pistols or any guns. And this is the classic example of a real gangster, okay? Yes, we have popularized this whole gunslinger mentality, but real gangsters kind of move in silence. They don't really move or make emotional decisions. And that's what we see from Son. Even though this was something that was catastrophic, this is something that could have broke a lot of people. Just seeing your pet, because some people view their pets as family. But anyway, Son starts to realize that some more attention is needed for this particular situation. Now, I'm mad at Son right now because I'm like, yo, Son, why are you still talking to Ray? Apparently, Ray is hiding very well because Ray is smart. But at the same time, everybody that is involved with Ray is getting knocked off. Okay, now you got a little dog. You done got a dog murdered? Come on now, Ray. Where's your heart? So check this out. So it then goes to the scene where Son is taking his children to school. And we looking at this whole screen like, oh my goodness, is it gonna get this bad? Because that is our biggest concern. We're worried that at some point these biker guys are not only gonna go for Son, but they're gonna start tagging and attacking family members of Son because they're just kind of in the open. So Son drops his kids off at school, and smartly, Son has a car brigade, basically like 3 or 4 cars, telling him to make sure that nobody messes with him because he's a real gangster. He acts like he got some money apparently. So as the kids get out of the car and head into the school, we're like, okay, all right, Son, we think this is a little risky. I think at this particular time it might be smarter to pull your kids from school, maybe get some private tutoring, perhaps with a security guard outside the classroom door, perhaps. But anyway, the kids get out, and as we kind of move on, we see DEA agents cut Son off and his whole car brigade, and they pull Son out. Whoever's in the car with Son, he's basically Son's hitman. You can kind of tell that he's young and kind of reckless, and you can tell he definitely takes the orders from Son. But he, thinking really quickly, he pulls the phone out, takes the battery or whatever, the SIM card out of the phone, swallows it, hides the gun underneath the dashboard, all that, and they take Son in for questioning. Okay, so Son is now in the mix, and then here's the craziest part of this episode, because the guy that Son said is the muscle who can probably take care of these biker guys, he basically, Son sets up a meeting between Son, the guy, the hitman guy with the muscle guy, and Manny and Ray. Manny and Ray are arguing in the car at the spot that they're supposed to meet. And apparently, whoever this guy is that Son called in a favor for, he pulls up and he's like, hey, you guys looking for me? He's this gigantic white guy, clearly an Eagles fan and completely eccentric. He's crazy. And as they're all kind of getting to know each other, the guy, Ray, and Manny, they're waiting for Son. They're like, yo, Son has never been this late before. And it turns out, and me and we know what's going on. We know that Son just got picked up by the DEA. So that is what's taking Son so long to get there. But they don't know that at the time. So anyway, they kind of run out of patience, and then Ray and Manny I don't know this guy's name. Can I call him the Eagles fan? All right, so they take the Eagles fan to the biker gang hideout, basically just to do some recon. Like, hey, this is where they are. We're going to come back and strike them maybe in the heart of night, something like that. But this guy is completely eccentric. And as they're driving to the location, he's sending signals to the guys in the back, his squad, and they're starting to put on white makeup and basically starting to arm up. And Ray is kind of confused, but he's like, hey, it's kind of standard for the course. We know that we're going to this biker hideout, and I guess it's okay to kind of have some camouflage. Hey, who's tripping? But when they get there, Ray says, hey, so if you look down there in that little hole there in the mountain, you can see that that's where all the guys are basically habitating. You know what I'm saying? Is habitating a word? I feel like I just made that up. Anyway, the point is, the Eagles fan, big guy, giant guy, he looks down there, he's like, all right, It's time. So he sends the signals to his guys. Next thing you know, about 3 or 4 trucks pull up and they're all ready. They arming up. They got makeup on. They look like clowns, like they're part of the insane clown posse. And Ray's like, wait, hold, slow down, slow down. I just came to show you where they at. I didn't want to start a war right here, especially while I'm here. Like, y'all guys are the muscle. I'm just here as a spectator. Can I get out? Can we do this another time? But homie, like, nah, man, now is the time to go ahead and attack these guys because they're not expecting us. Now, this is the craziest thing because I'm thinking to myself, they are going to get themselves some rifles, some guns that shoot long distance, some sniper rifles, AR-15s. These goofballs bring out Molotov cocktails. Okay, Molotov cocktails and shotguns. That's what I saw mostly. And I said to myself, at the distance that you all are, and I'm not a scientist, but at the distance that you all are, Molotov cocktails won't be that effective because this is a wide range of individuals that are spread out. And these Molotov cocktails really won't make that much of an impact. And as far as shotguns are concerned, they have limited range in terms of their capacities. And you guys are pretty far away. So what exactly are you about to do here? So these goofballs load up the Molotovs, throw the Molotov cocktails. They're about 8 deep throwing these things, and they did exactly what I thought they would do. They landed all over the place. There was no synchronization. Nobody got hit by these Molotovs. Then they started firing these shotguns, and they hit a couple guys. But it just isn't. It doesn't do much. So then these guys are now alert, and they're firing back. And they're firing back at limited success. Like, some people are getting hit, some people are not. But the bigger point is, it's a shootout now, whereas it could have just been a slaughter. They could have just threw a grenade or 8 grenades and then loaded up with AR-15s or any kind of automatic shotgun or a rifle and just slaughtered the whole crew. But no, these goofballs had Molotov cocktails and shotguns. And then the craziest thing happens. Turns out this whole alliance of biker guys, they were completely prepared. It wasn't just the guys at the bottom congregating. They had a whole defense line around the perimeter of snipers. So as they're hearing the shots go off, these snipers come out of their sniper's nest and start aiming down on Manny, Ray, and the Eagles fan and start lighting them up. Okay? I'm talking about lighting them up. And they just tearing them up. And at this point, everybody's going down from, Ray and them, their crew. Everybody's getting knocked off. And even the Eagles guy, he get knocked off. And I was so confused. I'm like, what took so long for y'all to hit this big old green circle? Because he was just walking in the middle of the battlefield like he was drunk, like he was high off some kind of drug or something like that. He in the middle of the battlefield, just like, hey, we like a Viking. And he get lit up finally. I'm like, yo, what took so long? He would have been the first one. But that's when Ray and Manny take his keys, get in the truck, and they speed off, right? And then as they're driving off, they find out that there is a freaking grenade in the pickup of the truck that they just ran off in. And I'm so mad. I'm so mad. You know why, right? Because they were supposed to use that grenade to throw it down there at the biker guys. If they had 1 grenade, it would have did more than 8 Molotov cocktails. But anyway, they drive off. You see this grenade rolling in the back of the pickup, and you're like, oh, snap. This is just not good. And it turns out it really isn't good. Because later on that night, Manny grabs that grenade. He's upset because Ray earlier met with Manny's girlfriend / fiance and told her, like, get out of town. Okay, and Manny gets wind of this, and he's depressed because Manny doesn't even want to be a part of this anymore. It's not even worth the money at this point, and Manny is ready to commit suicide. He's just ready to go. So Manny and Ray, they kind of, take refuge at this little space, like a little junkyard or whatever. Manny takes the pin out of the grenade. He's like, yo, Ray, get out the truck. And Ray like, yo, what you doing? What you talking about? Get out the truck. And he looks back and he sees that Manny is holding a grenade. So Ray goes in the back seat with Manny, and he's like, yo, don't let go. Where's the pen? And Ray did something so disrespectful. He was like, yo, you ready to crash out? You ready to crash out over a B word? Not realizing that Manny, this is the only thing Manny got. That's this fiance chick. That's all he got. So to disrespect her like that, yo, Manny just kind of goes berserk. And he takes the pen and throws it out the car. So at this point, if Ray or Manny let go of this grenade, it's pretty much curtains for them. But Ray is able to calm Manny down. Like, yo, Manny, chill. Like, yo, I told her to get out of town. And if you want to be real, that was a good decision to tell her to get out of town because they are killing everybody in y'all circle. So at the end of the day, she will be a target. And at that particular point, Manny calms down, and Ray takes the grenade and runs to a dumpster and throws it in the dumpster and then dips off, and then the dumpster blows up. All right, but it's at this point that the meeting that the lawyer called Ray to meet her. Basically the meeting. Michelle, the lawyer that's representing Ray's father, basically sets up a meeting on behalf of the DEA to meet at a restaurant. And we're thinking to ourselves as we're watching that Ray won't make this meeting because he's just going through a lot. But he cleans up. He goes to the restaurant to meet Michelle. And as he kind of creeps up to the restaurant, he looks inside and he's spotting out the scene. He sees DEA agents, 3 to be exact. Now, this is the dumbest group of DEA agents I've ever seen because they actually have the wires, the little earpieces. You can see the wires behind that ear. I'm like, bro, this got to be a TV show because there's no way that a real DEA, say that 3 times fast, DEA agent. There's no way that a DEA agent is going to be trying to do a stakeout or undercover mission with a whole wire behind his ear. That was just ridiculous. So Manny, or rather Ray, not Manny, Ray sees these agents kind of camped out and he locks eyes with Michelle. And at first I'm like, yo, Michelle filed for this. Why didn't she give him a heads up? Perhaps if this is real life, and it's not, but let's stay with me for a minute. Maybe she couldn't give or tip Ray off because her phone was tapped. So Ray actually had to come to the location to find out what he found out because she locks eyes with Ray and she kind of gives him a nod like how do you tell your friend that they about to get arrested without saying nothing? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, she kind of gives him an eye but she can't let the DEA agents know that she looking at Ray, giving him this signal or whatever. So anyway, Ray is looking so disappointed, and the way that he looks is well communicated by the actor because it seems like he's like, yo, I really liked you. You really set me up. Then his other part kicked in like, yo, no, she's not setting you up. She is basically being pressured and cornered, and she giving you to get out of there. You feel me? So he kind of puts 2 and 2 together and he walks off. That's where we are left off at. And who knows what happens next? I had no idea what happened in this episode was going to happen. And that's what it is, man. Throw a like on the video. I can't wait till Friday to check out episode 5. It's gonna get crazy. All right, y'all. Peace.